panelists, Gordon, Grant and Lydia, and I'll turn to them in a second to introduce themselves. But before I do, let me tell you a little bit more about Unlocking Space for Business and why we're here. So it's a brand new space agency programme that's just been launched that's supporting companies to deliver operational, customer and environmental benefits through the use of innovative satellite data and services. And broadly, it's going to do this through a number of different mechanisms, including networking events, exploration events, funding for pilots, learning and development opportunities that we'll bring to life during the course of the webinar. And the reason why we wanted to host this webinar is just to let you all know a little bit more information about the programme, who it's targeted to, a little bit more about the role of satellites and how you can get involved. So to help me to do that, I'm really delighted by my three panellists that are joining me, Lydia, Gordon and Grant. And let me hand to you, maybe in that order, Lydia, to introduce yourselves to everyone that's joined today.
Brilliant, thanks Faye. So my name is Lydia Green and I'm the head of the Unlocking Space programme at the UK Space Agency. So the UK Space Agency primarily supports the delivery of the National Space Strategy through three key pillars. So the first is around catalysing investment into the space sector, maximising the space sector's long-term growth. The second is around delivering missions and capabilities independently and with others that use space, science, technology and applications to meet national needs and help humanity understand our universe. And finally, to champion space, encouraging other sectors to use space science, technology and applications to deliver better services and tackle the climate emergency. Great to be here.
Superb. Gordon.
Hi Faye, hi everyone, so delighted to be here. My name's Gordon Sweny and I'm the head of strategy at the Satellite Applications Catapult. Now, the Catapult are an innovation and technology organisation, and our goal or our role is to drive economic growth through the exploitation of space, infrastructure and applications. Last year, for example, we worked on over 60 discrete collaborations, either directly with businesses or through some of our programmes, like the Local Growth Partnership or the Space Commercialisation Engine. And we've done so with the aim of sort of intelligently exploiting technology to derive sort of business benefit. And our role on this programme, which we're so excited about being a part of, is to bring knowledge of the space supply chain and the experience that I've just described through sort of multidisciplinary teams into the programme to support some of the activities that are under, what are planned, such as the networking events, the exploration, deep dives and so forth. So really delighted to be here and looking forward to a good session today.
And last but not least.
Hi Faye, hi everyone. My name's Grant Klein. I lead the public sector transport business here within PwC. I say that as a long title. Actually, anyone that knows the transport sector will know that it all connects across everything. And therefore what we do is try and look to help solve problems that are both running fleets that are dealing with freight across the country, those that are dealing with passenger services or just consumers themselves travelling, but also the assets and the infrastructure those are going on, be that at interchange points, bus stops, depots or otherwise, or on the core assets across the country. And often what we're finding is the problems are more and more to do with the connectivity between those and working more effectively between them. And there's a range of services I've been working on for longer than I'm going to admit on this live stream around transport services. Some of them work really well when we're bringing in innovation and technology, and some of them have some frustrations. And what I'm really excited about, and Lydia, as you gave your introduction, there was a bit of a tingle from me because I was thinking this really is an opportunity for us to reinvent some of the ways we provide those services. So I'm looking forward to this call and beyond.
Fantastic. Well, huge thank you for joining me this morning. Let me talk a little bit about how we'll run this and then we'll jump straight in. So we've got around 25 minutes and we'll do a general discussion for about 15 minutes, picking up on all of that experience that you just talked about in your intros, which is fantastic. We'll then do a Q&A session for 10 minutes. So if people that aren't live, if you're on the recording, you obviously can't do this, but if you're live this morning, please look at the Q&A function at the top and please do submit questions at any point that you would like answered, and we'll save 10 minutes towards the end to answer some of those questions. And as said a couple of times, we're kind of recording this session today and we'll make this available for people that couldn't join us this morning to help us get word out, in particular to transport and financial services businesses around the benefits of this programme. So let's get started. Gordon, great to have heard your introduction of yourself, your career at Satellite Applications Catapult. And for people that aren't familiar at all, Gordon, can you just kick us off by telling us a little bit more about the role that satellites play in our lives and our economy?
Yeah, definitely. I love this question. So there's over 9,000 sort of operational satellites currently at the last counting, and they are predominantly delivering 4, but we're interested in 3 services today. So Earth observation, GPS or position, navigation and timing, and satellite communications. And as you saw from the video, they underpin 17% of UK GDP, but that doesn't really bring it to life for people who don't really understand. So if you allow me to paint a picture, if you imagine you're taking the DLR train to work one morning and you're going in early to get a coffee at your favourite coffee shop, and you're in your coffee shop, you're charging your phone and you're reading about Storm Ciarán on your news app. What you don't realise is that all of that interaction is underpinned by satellites. The trains on the DLR won't open unless it knows where it is, i.e. in the station, which is a service underpinned by GPS. The transaction you make for your coffee is provided by a bank whose global services are underpinned by satellite communications. The phone that you're charging is being charged from a local substation where the electricity distribution is phased using the timing signal. And you're reading about Storm Ciarán, and there's a photograph taken from space about the impact of the storm in Scotland, 500 miles away, within 24 hours of the event, to bring the impact and this catastrophe to life. And I dare say you're drinking coffee that's been shipped across the Atlantic through our busy shipping channels, where SATCOMs and position, navigation, timing deliver services like collision avoidance. So as you can see, satellites totally interwoven into our daily lives. And what's so exciting about this program is, getting data originators, integrators and service providers together to support building new and emerging benefits for the potential markets we're looking to address with this program.
Fantastic. I love that analogy, Gordon. And if, as I said at the beginning, the focus of this program in particular is for businesses in transport or in financial services. So if I was getting the DLR into the City of London to work in financial services, can you just give us a little bit more feel on financial services in particular, what satellites can offer this industry?
Yeah, definitely. So I named Storm Ciarán deliberately because the statistics that we've been using are that natural catastrophes are going to increase by nearly 40% by 2025. So that's things like flooding and things like wildfires and hurricanes. And this presents challenges for insurers and challenges for financial institutions. For insurers, the challenges are going to be things like an increased amount of claims to process, or indeed, increased number of fraudulent claims. And then, of course, for financial institutions, there's growing pressure to align their services to environmental goals. So what I thought I'd do is I'd take each of those in turn and just quickly bring them to life a little bit. So from a claims verification point of view, what satellites can provide is verification of or visual imagery of a before and after event. So you can imagine just on this morning's news, there was flooding in Surrey, railway lines are closed, and you can create images of before that event and images of after that event to assess the impact. But going another layer of abstraction down, what the service providers have got is novel and interesting technologies that can do things like measure the boundaries of a flood, or they can assess damage levels such as roofs being taken off buildings, or indeed if assets are overturned. And what this allows, through the Earth observation capability that I described at the beginning, is allows for claims to be expedited faster, faster payouts for customers, a more effective, sort of fraud detection process, and indeed creating new and innovative products using this technology. So one example of that is AXA's climate partnership with Planet Labs, where they're creating a parametric insurance product for farmers to protect them against drought. Another example is Swiss Re's partnership with ICEYE, where they are trying to create and generate an early warning flooding system in order to mitigate some of these. So really, really exciting and innovative things that are already happening. And from a sustainable finance point of view, the second example I gave, as I say, the financial institutions are under a lot of pressure to deliver capital towards environmentally sustainable activities. Now, one of the obstacles here is really good accessing good, timely, and consistent data that supports, their ESG initiatives. The Global Climate Observing System has specified 55 what they call essential climate variables, and satellites can actually service over 60% of them. So what this means is you can look at things like heat loss, flood risk, as we've discussed, emissions, soil health, using satellite data and services. And again, the benefits here sort of speak for themselves: alignment of activities to environmental goals, embedding climate risk into credit risk management processes, screening investments perhaps for emissions and or biodiversity impacts, and things like pricing sustainability risk into their premiums. So again, some examples to bring to life: Climate Impact X, which is HQ'd in Singapore, has been established by DBS Bank and Standard Chartered to sort of be a leading carbon credits marketplace. Or in the UK, Landmark, the UK's largest property and land data business, are partnering with a company called Satellite View to provide essentially real-time climate change and thermal data information into the real estate market. So I think in conclusion, these ideas aren't science fiction. They're already beginning to happen now. And what's really exciting, and what we're really excited about, is sort of being able to take some of this learning and scale it up and deliver it benefits for businesses across the financial services.
Fantastic. And one of the features of the programme is an information hub. So if that was new information or you want to hear more about it, do go on .gov.uk, look up Unlocking Space for Business. We'll put the link in the chat as well, and you can definitely read more about that. Grant, turning to transport then, in your long career, I won't make any jokes about having hair when you started it, but you're here to represent the transport businesses. Can we just start with business challenges that they're facing today?
Sure, and they're many and varied, and some of them are things where there's an incremental improvement needed, and some of them are materially different, and there's almost an opportunity for new services that some of our clients are seeing and are desperate to get to, which is where I can see this technology helping. But just to bring it to life then in some of those example challenges, that there's a lot of our focus is around fleet management, and fleet management comes in various different shapes and sizes, or around the whole sort of logistics, but also moving us around the country as well. And some of the issues in there get you into how do we improve and enhance safety, reduce theft, and so on, which worryingly is a growing thing, certainly around a lot of the sort of freight sides of the market. So challenges around how do you track better, how do you use better imagery, and so on to reduce the amount of theft that's happening across various parts of the supply chain. That's a really, really big part here. There's another part around asset condition monitoring. So the transport network relies on reliable assets, that be they road, railways, ports, or otherwise. And there are various ways in which you can track that and make sure your assets are okay. But actually having better imagery so that you can understand and get better views on condition, so that you can work out how to target your interventions to make sure that those assets are operating effectively. That's a really important part. And then the last part I'll just flag now is around the sort of hard to reach areas for communications. So I've distilled down, at least for my simple brain, some of the things that these new services can offer around imaging, positioning, and communications. And in some senses, that's around augmenting what is already there. So this isn't about suddenly coming up with some new tools or new methods we need. It's more about making sure that they are more robust and more reliable. And then the others are around enhancing and providing new services. But all of that around how you're managing a fleet. There are inevitably some parts of the country where existing coverage of telecommunications and so on is not there, and therefore the opportunity to make sure you've got that tracking at a critical part is really, really key. So there's in terms of the sort of problem statements, they sort of fall into those kind of areas. The additional part, which is a sort of future problem statement, if you like, we're seeing more and more parts of the transport, I'll use the horrible consulting expression, ecosystem, that are trying to join together more and more. And that's where things get really, really interesting and really more challenging. And the need for data, the need for real-time data with accurate positioning becomes key. In a freight world, that's the sort of how do you flip to last mile with a different mode and so on. And in the passenger world, it's how do you join up and do your journeys across multiple modes in a way that is reliable. I don't want to get off the tube because I think I'm going to get onto an e-bike that I've booked and then find it's not working or not there. That's my simple consumer version of it, but there's lots of instances of that, and it's around the connectivity between different modes. When you switch from one mode to another, that's when things can go wrong, and that's where the need for better communications, more reliable communications, better positioning, and so on, is really critical. There's two other things just quickly I'll flag, Faye. One is there's been a debate for many years, 50 or more years, around how we will pay for use of various transport assets, and that gets you into the world of road pricing, congestion charging. I've worked on a number of those schemes over the years. A lot of the challenges that some of those have faced, particularly when you're looking at the more sophisticated versions than what happens in London, where it's a simple charge, you are relying on accurate positioning and location of vehicles. And that's been one of the things that's undermined some of the cases for this to happen before. So love it or loathe it, the opportunity to get more precision will open up and make it easier, or reduce one of the barriers, if you like, for us moving into that kind of more dynamic pricing that for us using particularly the road network. Last one I'll say, and then I'll stop, is we're looking at different aspects of how various parts of the transport network, particularly the roadside, is moving to connected autonomous vehicles. Now, there's a number of ways that will evolve, because we're not going to suddenly go from nothing to that sort of nirvana, but the need for reliable, robust communications and accurate positioning is critical, as you can understand, to give us all the confidence so that we can trust an evolution into those kind of services. So I'm very excited about that as one of the new ways that we'll be moving forward.
Brilliant. And we're fast running out of time, but just one very quick follow-up question to you, Grant. You're the only panelist today that hasn't been focused on the space sector. So what's been your own personal learning, or what are you personally most excited about, having been working closely with us over the last couple of months?
Oh gosh, too many things to say. I mean, genuinely a tinkle about the excitement of what this can do, because the lack of confidence in some innovations in transport has been palpable over the last couple of decades. And it's been so frustrating that we've not been able to, I say this, we as a sort of technology and transport industry, if you like, we've not been able to take forward some of the innovations, some of the creativity. And this has given me the confidence to push that again, because we know now that there are better ways of getting more accurate positioning, more accurate imagery, and more reliable communications. That means that those kind of, dare I say, charging services or better integrated joined up services can work better. It genuinely, at the risk of being a bit cheesy, it genuinely unlock what we can do in making those services work.
Fantastic, brilliant. Folks, we're going to move to Q&A in a minute, so do fill out any Q&A through that function at the top. But Lydia, coming to you, I mean, you must surely have one of the coolest jobs in government at the UK Space Agency. Can you tell everyone that's dialed in today a little bit more about why the programme's been set up and what it can offer potential FS and transport businesses?
Thanks very much, Faye. And yeah, it probably is a pretty cool job, actually. Yeah, really enjoying it. So I guess in response to your question around kind of why this programme was set up. So not everyone might know, but the UK continues to invest the most amount of capital into the European Space Agency's Business Applications and Space Solutions programme. So more than any other kind of European nation. This programme essentially co-funds companies to develop innovative uses of satellite data and services, which really delivers on the UK government's priorities around tackling climate change, creating business efficiencies, and improving lives for UK citizens. So I guess kind of established programmes like this one, SABAS, have highlighted the UK's kind of vibrant space sector supply chain, as well as the kind of incredible number of untapped opportunities that satellite data and services can have for UK businesses to deliver kind of commercial, societal or environmental benefits. However, I guess when I first joined the UK Space Agency and started conducting research and interviews to try and understand kind of where this programme should lie and what its focus could be, I was really struck by the number of barriers to adoption that many UK businesses were facing with satellite data and services, whether that's kind of awareness of opportunities or the kind of understanding the real return on investment that they can have from these use cases, or simply the kind of barriers to actually integrating that into their organisation and working out how it fits into their workflows. So I guess this programme, just to kind of set out, has really been set up to tackle those barriers head on, and think about how we unlock new innovative opportunities for businesses in the financial services and transport and logistics sectors, helping to unleash innovation and efficiencies for businesses is like the ones on the call today, supporting the UK's vision to be a kind of science and technology superpower. The second part of your question, Faye, was all around kind of what's on offer and how are we doing that. So I thought I'd just quickly take everyone through the 5 initiatives or the 5 pillars that this programme is going to do to help unlock that value. So the first is the Information Hub, which we've already spoken about. So that's all about the gov.uk page that we've already launched, which is an online page where you can discover the insights on how businesses can unlock value from satellites, learn more about the programme and register for future initiatives and our newsletter. The second pillar is our networking event. So this is a real opportunity to meet suppliers, integrators and other sector experts to help set the direction of innovative use cases, join live demos and I guess kind of build your network. Just to quickly plug, we've got our first 2 networking events scheduled. So the first is on the 27th of November and will be held in London, and the focus will be for financial services. The second is on the 5th of December and will be held in Manchester, and that one's for transport and logistics, a bit more of a focus on that area. The third initiative is all around exploration workshops, which have also been plugged today, which is fantastic. So this is where you've got an opportunity to apply for one-to-one tailored advice on the opportunity satellite data and services may have on your business and kind of help address those key challenges that we've also spoken about. We're hoping that these will start launching by the end of November, so really soon. So get your applications in and your interest in the programme. We're thinking from the 29th of November onwards, and they'll probably last 2 to 3 hours each, so kind of great opportunity for your organisation. Fourthly, we've got learning and development, so this will be an opportunity for you to apply to learn from a range of experts, access online materials and develop your understanding of the success factors that will be required to kind of for your organisation's journey to be able to take you on that journey of integrating some of these solutions. So whether that's from learning more about the supply chain, procurement challenges, or extracting insights from these solutions. And then finally, funding calls. So that is a key pillar of the programme, and we'll be looking to launch those very soon, where you'll have an opportunity to kind of apply for funding to launch innovative pilots, acquire new data, and start delivering for your organisation, really. So kind of, set out a whole raft of initiatives. Hope you're as excited as we are, and hope you'll get involved.
Brilliant. And that's already helped answer some questions coming in, but let me turn to the Q&A and let's keep these briefs just so we can work through a few of them. Gordon, I might come to you from Satellite Applications Catapult first on this one. We've had a question from the audience around how can satellite data companies support the programme? So less around the customers of the FS and transport, but the satellite data companies themselves.
A key part, clearly, it's 2 sides of the same coin. The end users need data and they need the service provision that these data companies are providing in order to derive the business benefit. So what I would envisage is, as part of an exploration workshop or as part of the ultimate funding call, you'd have data providers who would be offering services at a reasonably high level, TRL level, into end customers. And part of the programme is going to be understanding how we support that integration of that service and support ensuring the end user has been able to articulate the benefit of it. So absolutely critical part of the programme. And yeah, I don't know whether I should say any more than that, really.
Well, let's get through it. No, it's fantastic to hear, and exactly that point around this is tried and tested. This is companies that can realise those benefits. So data and services that's already out there in the market in terms of that readiness, I think is a really important point. Lydia, let me come to you on this one. Is the programme, we've had a question from the audience, is the programme aimed at existing growing businesses or at startups and SMEs?
Thanks, Faye. So, I mean, the programme's open to all, but I think a key part that I set out at the beginning is around kind of catalysing investment. So thinking about how do we generate new opportunities for the space sector through an increased customer base. So the programme's open to all and we welcome all types of applications, but I think we're particularly really excited about attracting large organisations to take on these services into their organisation.
Fantastic. And Lydia talked about the information hub earlier. That will certainly have a little bit more information about kind of criteria or people that in particular we're trying to attract as well. So these questions are coming thick and fast, and we're running out of time. I'm trying to find a difficult one for Grant, but I might have to come back to Lydia and with a question. So Lydia, there's actually been a couple of questions here about how this programme differs compared to other Space Agency programmes or ESA programmes, and whether or not this is a national programme as well. If I can just come to you with that question.
Yeah, excellent question. So this is a national programme, so it isn't a UK, a kind of European Space Agency programme. And I think where it really differs for me is taking that sector focus first. So thinking about the challenges that Grant has already set out, for example, in the transport and logistics, and thinking about what are those challenges, and then thinking about where space solutions might come in. So rather than it just being something that's really focused on R&D, which is absolutely essential to move the space sector forward, it's really thinking about that kind of high end, which Gordon's already set on, that higher TRL commercialization of these space solutions into these two sectors. So I think that's where it really differs. Trying to keep it short for you to help on time.
No, that's good. We can get through one or two more. Let me just pick up a quick one around the events that have been plugged so far, just so everybody knows that more will be released. So please do register for the newsletter and the notifications. Absolute commitment to be holding 50% of these outside of London at least. So we'll be up and around the country. Look forward to meeting you in person. Let's take a final question before we wrap. Are there learning and development opportunities were referenced earlier on? Can you please tell us more about these? Perhaps, Lydia, I can come to you first on that.
Yes, very happy to. So the learning and development course is something that we think will be kind of fundamental for end users to be able to really understand where the value is and how they can build their business case. So there'll be a range of different drop-in sessions, essentially, where end users will have the opportunity to apply and be able to learn from a range of experts. The modules of those are still being defined so that we've got a bit of flexibility. So really welcome any feedback and suggestions actually that people would find useful. So definitely recommend that. But at the moment, we're really focusing, as I mentioned, on kind of how do you break down that procurement process? How do you think about how's best to derive those insights for your organisation, and also just a general better understanding of what the space sector supply chain looks like and the landscape, or can I say ecosystem to plug the consultant language, so that you can understand how you can go about taking some of these solutions into your organisation.
Superb. Folks, I think that is a wrap. That was super fast paced, but a huge thank you to my panelists, Lydia Green from the Space Agency, Gordon Sweny from Satellite Applications Catapult, and Grant from PwC. Just to reiterate Lydia's last point there, we really welcome feedback. So if you go on .gov.uk, there's an email address to the programme. We're looking at trading needs analysis for some of these companies. It'll be fantastic if you could register for some of these events if of interest. So huge thank you for your time this morning. It's been great to have you here. Sorry that we haven't managed to answer all questions. We will look at those in terms of responding via our newsletter if we didn't get a chance to. And very much hope to meet you at some point during the course of the delivery of the programme as we help companies to realise those benefits. So huge thank you for attending Unlocking Space for Business, our webinar this morning. And I look forward to meeting you in person in due course.